You may be seated. And if you would silence your phones or put them on vibrate, we would appreciate it. Good afternoon, and welcome to Research College of Nursing Traditional BSN Class of 2022 Pinning Ceremony. I am Dr. I am Dr. Glenna Mahoney, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Education. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of 86 individuals in the 2022 senior class. 2 years ago, we welcomed you in to our nursing program. Today, we welcome you into the nursing profession. Our first speaker this afternoon comes from the Research College of Nursing Governing Board. The board guides the college in the fulfillment of its mission and ensures that the college maintains its integrity as an institution of higher learning. Please welcome to the stage Ms. Karen McCrary.
Good afternoon. I am honored to be here today to congratulate each of you on behalf of Research College of Nursing Governing Board. Congratulations to our graduates, to their families and loved ones. Congratulations also go to Dr. Wilson, Dr. Saxton, Dr. Nauser, and all of the amazing faculty and staff of Research College of Nursing. Along with our best wishes, I also want to pass on our appreciation to each of you. Thank you for the decision you made to become a nurse, or to mentor or teach our nursing students, or to support your loved one in his or her endeavors. Your decisions truly will change lives. A few weeks ago, I went to the dentist just to get my teeth cleaned. The dental assistant walked me back to the exam room, and she told me that it would be just a few minutes before the dentist would be in. She stayed in the room and started a conversation with me. She asked where I worked, and I told her I worked at Mid-America Rehab Hospital. She asked what I did at the hospital, and I told her I was a nurse. She then stated she couldn't imagine being a nurse throughout this COVID pandemic. She went on to share with me this story. Her brother was married in December of 2019. After the wedding, he took his wife on a honeymoon to Mexico. They returned home to Kansas City. Both of them became very ill. They were both hospitalized and eventually diagnosed with COVID-19. Her brother ended up in the ICU on a ventilator and gravely ill. At this time, due to so many unknowns with COVID, visitors were not allowed in the hospitals. This dental assistant went on to tell me that her mother was absolutely devastated and heartbroken. She desperately wanted to see her son, but this wasn't an option. Then one night, a nurse called the mother. She gave her an update on her son. Realizing how much this phone call impacted this mother, the nurse continued to call the mother every evening with an update, and that went on until the young man passed away. The story continues. A year and a half later, this mother became quite ill herself. She was told she only had a few weeks to live. She pulled her daughter aside, and she told her daughter that she had one last wish. She wanted to meet that nurse who cared for her son and called her every night just to share a moment with a mother. And my guess is that this nurse had no idea the impact that phone call had on this patient's mother, not to mention the impact it had on the patient's sister, the wife, family, and friends. As nurses, I have no doubt you will all make a tremendous impact on patients, families, and communities. Thank you for the lives you will change and for the moments you will share. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Karen. The Academic Practice Partnership between Research College and HCA Healthcare exemplifies innovation and collaboration. mutual respect and trust, and the sharing of knowledge. It is my pleasure to introduce Amber Bays, Division Chief Nursing Executive at HCA Mid-America Division and a graduate of Research College of Nursing.
Well, I wish I could see you better. It's very bright up here, but I'm sure there's some great smiles down there. Believe it or not, even though my graduation class was almost 18 years ago, I do remember that day fondly. But the last couple years have felt a little different, haven't they? I've talked a lot to Thad and Rebecca about this class and what you all have went through, because one of the things I always want to understand is our nurses and what they feel every day, and that includes our nursing students. I come here proud as a partner at HCA Midwest, being the DCNE, Division Chief Nursing Executive, but even more proud as an alumni of Research College of Nursing in 2004 and again in 2012 with my master's. You know, they wanted me to talk a little bit about my why, but also about the journey in healthcare that we've had and we're about to encounter, and I hopefully can do that well for you today. They told me 4 to 6 minutes. We'll see how we do. I don't think Karen took all her time, so I'll plan on taking just those 4 to 6 minutes, I promise. You know, when I started nursing school, my first why was my stepdad, and some of you have probably heard this. I know some of the people on the stage have. He passed away from pancreatic cancer in my first week of my accelerated option program. And during that time, what I figured out, I thought I wanted to do, cardiology or orthopedics, but after having a nurse named Karen take care of my mother and my stepdad before he passed, and I still talk about her to this day, I realized I wanted to be an oncology nurse. A lot of people every day say to me, Amber, how did you know you were going to be in leadership and where you're at today? I mean, do you really like what you're doing away from the bedside? And when I say to them, I can change the bedside care every day, and that's why I love it. And I can do things to make processes and things easier for all of you so people like Karen can spend time with my mother to hold her hand. Well, this last year, actually, as I was interviewing for this job, I was the CNO at one of our local hospitals. My mother called me and said she thought she had a stroke. She couldn't form words, and she wasn't making sense. It was very late on a Tuesday night. She lives up in Iowa, and I knew I couldn't get up there that night because it was just way too late, and she was going to bed. She was exhausted. They thought she had possibly had a TIA, and she was back home. And so my sister and I drove up frantically the next morning. I had decided at that point, not knowing if I'd gotten this job or not, that I didn't really care, because the most important nursing job I could do moving forward was the daughter nurse and taking care of my mother. And as you know, even back last fall, the visiting hours were very interesting. So during that time, my sister's a professor, and she's great in education and all sorts of things like that, but she wanted me to really take the helm as far as healthcare goes. I think I wish maybe she would have. That was a pretty stressful time. What we found out within a week of me getting up there is we got her to Mayo Clinic, and she had a brain abscess that she got from a dog bite in her leg. And she never had an infection in her leg, but she ended up having very severe stroke-like symptoms that they thought eventually was a brain tumor and turned out to be an abscess. So within a week, she had brain surgery at Mayo Clinic up in Minnesota, and they took wonderful care of her. But what I really figured out during the time there is, yes, they have some really amazing clinical docs. They partner really well, and that was great, and I did really appreciate that communication. But what my mom cared about, and she would tell me with a little bit of a brain injury, is she really liked that nurse that talked to her and asked her about herself. But the nurses that didn't, she was like, I just don't know that they're that good of a nurse. And I say, Mom, they're a really good nurse. Maybe they're just not as personable as, Emily, I think was the nurse she ended up really liking. And she goes, well, I just think Emily does a much better job. I've always remembered that throughout my time, because my focus has always been on the students, the employees, the nurses. And it's kind of funny to say, but it didn't have to be on the patients as much, as long as I treated you the way my mom wanted to be treated as a patient. And I really did get to know all the people that I worked with throughout the years, both personally and professionally. And I think when you know someone's heart, you can really make a difference. So the great thing that you get to do moving forward today will be one of the hardest things you've ever done, but also one of the most rewarding. You change lives every day. You can be a Karen to my family, or an Emily, just by taking that extra moment to hold someone's hand or talk to them or ask them how their day's going. You know, what we've really figured out is that personal connection is the #1 thing people are looking for during the hardest time of their life. They're really not looking when they come into a hospital to be in a hospital bed laying horizontal. They walk in vertical, and that's a really hard place to be. I myself have had healthcare in that way in the last couple years, and it was very hard for me. You know, one of the things I've always said is if we all take one step forward today, imagine the change we can make, and you're about to do that in healthcare. We don't make coffee filters, we take care of people. And I want you to really remember that, because in your first year, you will have hard times. I think people thought the pandemic the last couple years was one of the hardest times we could have faced, but the reality is we have some hard times ahead. Healthcare has changed forever. And instead of trying to be the way we were in 2019, we're gonna be the new us in 2022, and you're a part of that. So remember that on your tough day. Remember your why. I know I still have to every day. And congratulations, because you have just completed one of the hardest degrees that's out there. I know people that went to nursing school and then went to med school, and they said, my nursing degree was harder. And for you all, it was, because it was so different, and you maybe didn't have the normal experience, but to be honest, in healthcare, you never will either. So it's really prepared you for what you're about to experience as you move forward. I, again, am so honored to be here as a part of HCA and kind of the leader in nursing, but more of the team than anything, but also as an alumni of this school. And I know they produce great nurses. That's why we're all fighting for all of you every day to come work on our team. So congratulations, be proud of yourselves, and congratulations to the families here that have helped support them through this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Each year, the graduating class nominates a student to deliver an address at the pinning ceremony. This year, our student speaker had high praise from her classmates. She was described as one of the most dedicated individuals, someone who cares deeply and sees people, especially when they need to feel seen or heard. She takes the time to listen and let others know that they matter. The mix between her drive and passion is what makes her an excellent friend and an even better nurse entering the field. Please welcome to the stage Emily Dixon.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you all today to share some thoughts on this momentous occasion that marks the beginning of our professional careers as nurses. There are some symbols of nursing, like the famous white cap, that have become obsolete in the last 30 years, for good reason. But if I asked you all what you think of the symbol of today's nurse is, you'd probably hold out your stethoscope. I was reading this article a few weeks ago about how the auscultation skills of medical professionals have been declining over the last 20 years due to the advent of EKGs and ultrasound technologies. This process of technology gradually overtaking our human skills just seems kind of like a fact in our modern world. But my argument to you today is that it doesn't have to be. 2 years ago, we were all getting ready for the beginning of nursing school at home during the lockdown. I remember texting my friends, distraught over which stethoscope to get. Questions like, is Littman really the best? And what about that cardiology stethoscope? Does that make a difference? And most importantly, what color should we get? This was the one piece of equipment that made us feel like we were eventually going to know what we were doing. I believe that the reason why the stethoscope is the most natural symbol of our profession is because it embodies the most important element of our job, which is assessment. It's even an NCLEX tip. Assessment is always the answer. Unless it's OB, then the answer is massage the fundus. If you think about it, the most rewarding part of this career is noticing something important. Not giving a shot or inserting an IV, but being the most intuitive and observant member of the healthcare team. There is always more to assess, and there are so many ways we can listen to our patients and to each other to discover solutions and acknowledge the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Sometimes our assessment skills are purely medical. When you recognize the first signs of a stroke or hypoglycemia, you could be saving your patient's life. Often, however, Our assessment skills are social and emotional. When you ask a new mother if she feels safe at home, and she trusts you enough to tell you that she's scared to bring her new baby home, you can be the difference in ending a cycle of domestic violence. Sometimes assessment is about knowing what someone needs, even when they can't or don't know how to tell you. This intuitive empathy is what separates good nurses from great nurses. Our late classmate, Sam Zek, was someone who had this gift. Sam was unbelievably intelligent and a gift to anyone she studied with, but she also could make anyone feel like she was your best friend because she had a knack for knowing what you needed before you knew it yourself. This is why I always laughed when she told us that she wanted to go into nurse anesthesia and put people to sleep all day. She was definitely smart enough for it, but the joy of Sam was the way she could match anyone's energy and make anyone laugh. It came as no surprise to me when she told me a few months before she passed away that her plan was to come back after chemotherapy for the BSN program at Research and be an oncology nurse. After Sam passed away, I got out of the float pool as fast as possible and started working as a nurse intern on the inpatient oncology unit at Research. I loved my coworkers and the skills I got to practice, but my favorite part of the job was the patients. Cancer patients have such a unique perspective on life because they're living with an earth-shattering diagnosis. They are some of the wisest people you'll ever meet. Due to the nature of our patients' diagnoses, we often had the same folks on our unit for a few months on end. One of my favorite patients, who I will call John for the purpose of this story, spent almost 6 months with us. He was an eccentric older man with wild stories, and he made friends with all the staff he met. After a few months on the unit, I noticed that he had begun calling out on the call phone at regular intervals. I would pick up the phone and ask, "How can I help you?" To which he would reply, "I'm fine, how are you doing?" I would go into his room and see if I could grab him a hot chocolate or take him to the bathroom or something. But as the weeks went on, I noticed that he was becoming increasingly withdrawn. Eventually, he was on total bed rest due to his condition. One time I walked into his room and he simply said, "I was just looking for someone to talk to." You see, John was a ward of the state. The reason why he was with us for so long was not his medical condition, which probably could have been handled at a skilled nursing facility. He was with us because he had no friends or family to provide guardianship with him. In the end, the best care that our nursing staff provided for him was not running his CBIs or giving him medications. It was tending to the wound of years of loneliness. We got permission to take him outside for a wheelchair ride on sunny days, and someone made him a pillowcase with footballs all over it. We would take turns giving him a good shave every few weeks, something he couldn't do for himself and he was so grateful for. And when John's birthday came around, the entire unit came together and threw a huge surprise birthday party for him, complete with a cake, Fanta orange soda, which we don't have in the hospital, singing, and balloons. I loved accessing ports and drawing labs, but that day will always be my favorite memory from my time on the unit. As we look back today over all we have accomplished over the past 2 years, I encourage you to remember these moments, times when you saw a need and you responded in exactly the right way, whether it was taking an old friend out for coffee or noticing an important change in your patient's condition. Acknowledge that you have done all of this, studying, taking tests, taking care of your children, sick parents and family members, and doing a lot of it online. Class of 2022, you're truly an inspiration. My charge to this class is to never put down your stethoscope. Whether it is the stethoscope of your intuitive empathy or your Lippmann Cardiology 3, listening is your superpower. I have talked to so many of you who are going to all different places to do all types of nursing. Whether you're staying with HCA, going to Florida, Hawaii, Nebraska, Colorado, or Minnesota, whether you're going to work with the tiniest humans in the NICU or trauma patients in the ER, you will all have a stethoscope and a listening heart that was cultivated here at Research College of Nursing. Congratulations, graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Good afternoon. I am Rebecca Saxton, and I have the honor and privilege as serving as the Dean of Research College of Nursing. Each year, faculty, staff, and students nominate individuals from the graduating class for awards in the areas of scholarship, leadership, and service. Students received these awards earlier this week. These awards are noted in today's program. In December 2020, Research College of Nursing added an additional award for each graduating class and for one faculty member. The DAISY Awards are given in conjunction with the DAISY Foundation. The foundation was founded by the family of Patrick Barnes to honor nurses, nursing students, and nursing faculty. DAISY stands for Diseases Attacking the Immune System. You see, Patrick died from an autoimmune disease. This award is intended to honor those who go above and beyond and make an extraordinary difference in the experiences of patients and their families, just like Patrick's nurses did. The DAISY Award for Outstanding Faculty recognizes excellence in the classroom. To be nominated for this honor, a faculty member must show demonstrated excellence in teaching, as well as care and compassion for the well-being of their students on their journey to becoming a nursing professional. This last December, the winner of the 2021 DAISY Award for Outstanding Faculty was Rosalia Molina. Dr. Molina is not here today as she is graduating herself from the University of Missouri-Columbia with her PhD in nursing. A round of applause for Dr. Molina. The DAISY Award for Outstanding Nursing Student recognizes a student nurse who has excelled in the clinical setting and in direct patient care. This year, 5 students were nominated for this incredibly prestigious award. Would those nominated please stand as I call your name? Emily Dixon. Ruth Ingling. Mary Gathright. Anne Leiber. Morgan Stern. The nominator for the recipient said, while on a school-sponsored trip, they helped the group navigate public transit, helped others manage their time by confirming the schedule for the day, and was an engaged and enthusiastic participant. They were quick to put on their problem-solving hat with the adult companions to come up with a plan that would accommodate the needs and wants of the group. Their nurse training kicked in when our group encountered a woman who had fallen in the metro station. While metro employees appeared to be lost as what to do, they tried to communicate with the woman and assess the situation. It became clear that the woman had a broken arm and was disoriented from hitting her head. They recognized the woman needed a medic and watched to make sure no one moved her before the medical team arrived. Based on what I observed that day in the metro station, as well as the way they carried themselves throughout our trip together, I know they will be an exceptional nurse. They are already an exceptional person. For their dedication to the well-being of others and their thoughtfulness, this year's recipient of the DAISY Award for Outstanding Nursing Student is Emily Dixon.
Graduates had their graduation yesterday in conjunction with Rockhurst University, but today they'll receive their Research College of Nursing pin. This is a great honor and the pinnacle of an undergraduate nursing experience. We are so excited to share this moment with you and welcome you into the profession of nursing. Each student will have their name read and will receive their stolen pin from Dr. Saxton and Dr. Mahoney. Please wait until the conclusion of the pinning for cheers and congratulations. Jolynn Michelle Salmon. Paige Madeline McNiff. Jessica Schlappman. Gabrielle Inman. Justice Renata Wingate. Margaret Ann Moyer. Ellen Renee Harder. Ruth Mary Engling. Mary Elizabeth Gathright. Olivia Nicole Stebner. Michaela Rose Sullivan. Morgan Caitlin Stern. Victoria Lauren Cole. Haley Marie Fuller. Bailey Paige Reed. Hannah Moss. Shannon Taylor Hennon. Zachary Alexander Sijelski. Christopher Munnar. Gavin James Benoit. Madeline Knust. Maya Kinchilo. Emily Virginia Dixon. Justine Carmen Schultz. Ashley Janelle Davis. Jerry Lynn Ballou. Callie Lynn Smothers. Taylor Sue Simmons Gibbs. Taryn Wilson. Caitlin Marie Stacy. Jennifer Renee Villers. Heather Marie Black. Rebecca Faith Jackson. Grace Ann S.B. Wilson. Michelle May Anderson. Angie Lopez Rodriguez. Jayla Shaw. Alexis Ann Lortz. Megan Nicole Felty. Kendra Sue Winkleman. Emma Blanner. Rosa Caroline Mazuka. Catherine Gardner. Emmanuel Isaac Koulibaly. Grace Colleen Eisenbarger. Megan Myers. Jessica Robker. Nicole Marie Anderson. Faith Garcia. Asmaret Fizhay. Savannah Downs. Madison Riley Cook. Jessica Walletz. Abby Lauren Huffaker. Angela Giselle Sandoval. Jakira Johnson. Nicole Renee Moore. Tammy Lyons. Elena Fox Dykstra. Ibella Victoria Ebenue. Lydia Ben Oko. Risa Margarita Corriere. Emily Nowak. Sarah Marie Elbert. Brenna Hampton. Tao Yi. Jacob Dylan Arago. Kelly Helene McGartland. Alexis Stiert. Rachel Beth Kinsella. Michael Vincent DiPiazza. Meredith Drummond. Sydney Suzanne Reeves. Josie Benguini. Sydney Lauren Truesdale. Aubrey Faye Buckman. Alexis Elizabeth Lamb. Jack Matthew Remington. Andy No Mangandi. Ashley Fight. Nicole Elizabeth Horn. Reagan Clare. Erica Michelle Podlowski. Anne Marie Leiber. Grace Turnoy. McLean Elizabeth John.
Congratulations, graduates. I think Amber talked about being ready to do things differently when they come up, right? So we were rolling with that there. All right. At this time, I would like to welcome the family of Samantha Zeck to the stage. Emily shared a little about Sam with you in her presentation. Sam was a member of the 2022 class, and she passed away in May of 2021 from cancer. Sam had an energy that breathed excitement and passion into everything she did, including being a nursing student. In the past 2 years, $2,000 was raised in her honor, and this year the money was donated to the Student Relief Fund. On Tuesday of this week, we honored Sam's memory with a dedication of a rock in our memorial garden. The rock reads, "Life was tough, but so was she." On behalf of Research College of Nursing, we would like to present Sam's family with her nursing pin, along with her stole, honor cords, and white coat. May this remind you of the indelible mark Sam made at Research College of Nursing. And now I'd like to take a moment to honor Dr. Thad Wilson, President of Research College of Nursing. This will be Dr. Wilson's last pinning ceremony as he enters retirement. Dr. Wilson has spent nearly 30 years in nursing education, beginning at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, then the University of Iowa, followed by here at Research College of Nursing. Dr. Wilson joined the college in 2017. As president, he provided strategic vision, he ensured the provision of resources, and collaborated with key partners, including Rockhurst University, Research Medical Center, and HCA Healthcare. During his tenure, the college saw a significant increase in BSN enrollment.
I'm a great player.
A losing kickball team. I was on the same team, so I can say that. Classroom and laboratory renovations, the expansion of the dedicated education unit program, the creation of additional student support services and staff, and the initiation of our American Association for Men in Nursing chapter. In 2020, Dr. Wilson was recognized by Ingram's magazine as an icon of education. Dr. Wilson, thank you for the many contributions you have made to nursing education and for your commitment to Research College of Nursing.
That was not in the script that was sent to me. I am Thad Wilson, and I am a nurse. I'm always proud to say that, have always been, and will always be proud to say that. I happen to have the title of President of Research College of Nursing for another couple of weeks, but I'm always a nurse. And so I join my colleagues today in celebrating your success. You better be good because you may be taking care of me in the near future. My health is good at the moment, but you never know. It is really, truly a joy to finally see everybody's faces, to see your smiles. It's been fascinating to see the smiles in your eyes, but to actually take that mask down and to see most of you, it is a joy. Obviously, this event and pretty much everything about your final year of college will be etched in history, not only of our country, but of our school. You are, in fact, the final class of the Rockhurst Research Collaboration Partnership. You're an amazing group of people, and we've honored you as graduates in many ways. Today, you join a large and prestigious group of people, Research College of Nursing alumni. We hope you will stay in touch. I usually like to see how many of our alumni are with us today, so if you are an alumni of Research College of Nursing, would you please stand so we can recognize you? You all missed the cue. You're now alumni. You're supposed to stand. Yay! Party time. Okay. I love the addition of that cannon. I wish you could have seen their faces. You were back there. From up here, there were some surprises there. Someday, some of you may come back to us as faculty. Someone who does more than just teach, and we heard about that today. Faculty get to live their lives out to patients through you. It is always an honor to teach students. It's possible that you will find yourself on the front line heroes as this or other pandemics occur. We believe in your ability to rise to that call. And there are many here today who have believed in you and do believe in you as you step forward. So I'd like to have you, I'm going to have you stand up and turn around. Just you graduates here. I would like you to give a hand to your spouses, significant others, and other special people that have helped you get this far. Give them a hand. Okay, now we're going to give a rousing applause for the mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and people with checkbooks that have supported you thus far. Give them a big hand. To the aunts and the uncles and the grandparents and other extended family that are here and online out in the world, give them a hand. Turn to each other and give each other a hand because you've supported each other through this mess, right? And lastly, as a grandparent, if there are any children out there who gave up their mom or dad for the last 2 years, they deserve a hand. Okay, now you can turn around and sit down. We're truly proud of this outstanding group of graduates. To the family and friends, we do ask a little bit more patience. You see, there's this little test coming up. And they're going to work really, really hard and have to stay focused until they pass that exam. 100% of you, right? Okay, so we like to hear. Once you've passed that exam, you decide what you want to do in the world, make sure that you stay focused on the human being you care for and get out there and save lives. Thank you.
We want to thank you all for being here today, and to your friends and family. We appreciate this time together, and it's our last time together, so it's kind of bittersweet. This has been the longest 2 years of your life, but then when you look back, it feels like the shortest, doesn't it? The time flew by. This now concludes our 2022 pinning ceremony, but we do ask that all guests to leave the theater, as we're going to be taking group pictures. So if guests could wait in the lobby for your graduates. And any other announcements? All right. Yay.